Hey guys, welcome to our review of Ultraman Zett, episode 19. I'm your host of Cinder Blaze, and today we have...
The frozen Stratos.
Alright, and let's jump into this hyper battle episode, because that was basically what it was. Like, the entire way through was just one long fight where they flexed the shit out of all the action shots. I have not seen an episode like this impressive this entire series, and
Yeah.
probably, like, in this like franchise almost, like excluding like the movies because they're like different and like it's been a while since I've
Mhm.
seen them. But like, jeez, for an episode, what the heck were they like? Someone was a
I
huge
know.
fan of Ace and just like, I'm gonna make sure that his episode is the best in this series.
Yeah, it's once again one of those things where it's like, we know Zett's not doing anything. We got this guy who really wants to do a thing, or this guy who really wants to come back and do a thing, and we're just gonna let him take the reins on it. And like, it was explosive action the whole time. The only time I remember something not necessarily like this, but like a time where I was so, I guess, taken aback by how incredible the, I guess, visuals were like, I think it was an episode of Zyuohger when they like jumped out of the cockpits and like ran across the city to the monster and started beating it up in their civilian size.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think there's
but
a couple episodes of like Loop where they also had very similar things, where it's like
yeah,
going
that's
in and
true.
out of like the kaiju scale into like the
Hmm.
human scale, and they're going back and forth. There's something that they did in this episode a lot too.
The thing that really sold it for me was like the sort of in between, like a shot that is supposed to look like it's not spectacular, but it's when the guy is just on his phone, like taking video of, oh shoot, hey, there's chicken turkey man, and then like the top of the head of, I forgot the name of the thing, and then pans down into the street, and then you see the I guess the carrier mode of
King Joe.
King Joe. Yeah, yeah. And then you pan seamlessly to just another person on that balcony with him. That was impressive.
Yeah,
Um, and like the fact that they would go all the way with a scene like that, not, it's not a spectacular scene, it's just to establish scale and kind of just show off. I
yeah.
love it. I love the balls of that episode.
Yeah, because
um
like all these things were completely unnecessary. It's not like we had an important human character who needed to grasp the scale and like the destruction of like these kaiju fights. It's not like someone who just like, whatever, giant monsters fight, all fun and all. It's
mhm.
no, like these are just like random people, and they were just having fun almost. Like we didn't really like know them all too
Yeah.
much, and they just did that because they could. And I was
Yeah.
just like, and like they were like shot like in the fight where they would go like they would like come back from like, or they would show like the monster and then like go
Uh-huh.
backwards and be like through like the building and stuff,
Yeah,
and they would do that
yeah.
multiple times because they could.
Yeah, I know. Like it, and during the fight, the one I was talking about, that one was to like set the scene and show tone or whatever. But the scene where they're fighting in the background and in the foreground we're moving and following these people, that was absolutely showing off, and I was here for every single second of it. Like it, sometimes it would be like, oh wow, they're really flexing here. I get it, but here it was like, wow, you're flexing, and I love it. Keep going. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder if it's like something from Ultraman Ace. Like I don't think so. I feel like this is just something that they just wanted to completely throw out there and just kind of have fun with the episode. Like
yeah, we've
because
we've
oh
never seen like, at least in this show, civilian interaction like this. We rarely get to see how it's affecting the city outside of, oh, some cars flew around or bikes fell over, which happens a lot actually.
yeah, I still have mental images of like the bikes falling over. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was just like, because like this entire episode was just basically the fight, and like they were just trying to like probably throw in as many like flavors into it as possible, like just showing that scale, just kind of like added to this whole like elaborate like
Hmm.
fight episode. So I guess if they're gonna do it in any episode, this would be it, because like they kept the plot relatively low. It's just like monster shows up, and then like another monster shows up scaring the monster,
Hmm.
and then we get like Ace coming in the second half, and then another fight with
Yeah.
Barba.
It reminds me of what happened last week where we just had, oh hey, Storage is beating down one of these aliens, we're just gonna, kill it or whatever, and then suddenly it just disappears because we have a new threat to deal with. It's from years ago, but it's here now. And it's
Yeah,
running really weird.
yeah,
Um but yeah, I did, however, really appreciate a lot of the character work that this director, this writer, whoever wanted to do with Zett and even Ace. Because, you know me, I've been a little. I guess I raised an eyebrow at how many times they just didn't feel like using Zett as a character.
yeah.
Um, and here they actually chose to. And I want to see more of it. It sucks to me that like this felt so jarring of like an episode that like, oh, this is so far out of the norm that we're not gonna see this again. So to me it's like, oh, you're teasing me with some really nice Zett stuff and how Ace is his um what was it
Godfather.
like, yeah, godfather, that I was really interested in. um and then also what Ace told him, which was some advice that I think Haruki needed, was, or at least like an establishment that Haruki needed. It was like, there are some monsters that don't feel any sort of remorse or like, when they kill things, and those monsters are too far gone or whatever. It's that, like
That
that uh justification, that blanket justification you could place on some of the monsters, enough of the monsters for Haruki to be okay with it. And
yeah,
it's something I felt like, a spot of dialogue I felt like was missing from a Zett and Haruki interaction.
yeah. Because like there's just like so many possible character interactions that would just like work. Zet learning from his predecessors, and then like kind of passing that on to Haruki, because like Haruki's kind of like a greenhorn agent for storage, and
Mm-hmm.
like the learning from like these Ultraman would just be like fantastic for someone like him. Like, and I feel like he's the character who would absorb it really well. So I was kind of like hoping for more of these types of episode in this series. Um, but like we got in this one, and it was pretty neat. Like, knowing that Ace was Zet's godfather, just to kind of like connect him to like the previous generation a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
was a little neat. I thought he was gonna be like his father or something, because they have like similar designs, but they're just like, nah, we're not doing that right now. Because like that makes sense, considering that
Mm-hmm.
Zero didn't even know that Seven was his father until he told him, like after like millennia.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like after he's born, it's like, I go fight. Just like
What is the how does that work? What
I
do
ha
they do to create another being?
let's not get into that. I don't even know, and I don't think I
Oh,
want to
okay.
know just yet. Yeah,
Fantastic. All right.
yeah. Also, Ultraman Ace, felt like the choreography for his fight was pretty dang good.
Oh yeah.
Like just using like all those like beam attacks. Like I feel like sometimes for Zet's fight scenes, especially like when he got Belial Rock, I felt like they just dumbed down the choreography so much. Just like you just hit him with the sword and then he dies. It's like okay, but for this guy, he's like at a roughly equal power level with like the enemy, so he's just like making like barriers, like freaking shooting with one hand, blocking with the other, and he's trying to do all these like crazy maneuvers just like deal with this enemy. Just kind of seeing him go like all out was like pretty neat, because we don't get to see
Hmm.
that too often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts before we head into comments?
No. Let's move into some comments, huh?
All right.
The first one I have up is a little conversation between Extra, John Hendricks, and then Extra again.
Alright. To answer what Corey asked about there being seven Ultra Brothers, technically there's 11, but they act like there's only six. Those being
What?
Ultraman, Zaffi, Ultra 7, Jack, Ace, and Taro. Also, apparently next week is going to be the third clip show episode. I understand the filming isn't as easy as it once was, but there's still a disappointment. And then John Hendricks replied, only the Kanagon clip show was a numbered episode. This one and the robot one was in special episodes. And then after yeah, but they still air in place of a normal episode.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean it
yeah. I
sucks, but
mean,
it
like
gives
if we take a week off, that means it's a clip episode.
yeah, I mean if it helps them, then that's great, especially with what we're dealing with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just a little disappointed, and I guess I'm not gonna, you know, watch it. Because I get what you're saying with the last one. That one had some story to it. So I guess that one would technically be considered an episode, but a lot of the information in there didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. Overall, this is the one season I'll probably forgive this many clip shows. It's what, three, and I think two is what you would usually get, or one or
yeah,
two.
yeah. If two is for a standard show and three is what we're getting for a show that happened during a pandemic, then yeah, okay, that's fine. Like you did far more than I thought you'd be capable of during a pandemic. So
Yeah. All right, and then
next up is Hero Gangster.
man, Supro is mad flexing this season for certain episodes that they have to make next episodes reflection slash clip episodes. That I love how Ace practically feels like he's more agile and relentless fighter due to them having more expertise. Also, he's a merciless murderer in his show, so no wonder why Zett doesn't have any mercy.
Interesting. I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, I mean, he also did kind of mention that with these what they call terror beasts, or these these super kaiju that just feel no compassion whatsoever. He
Hmm.
just has to, and the way he's kind of going at it kind of reflected that, so that's pretty neat.
Sure.
Yeah. And then for John Hendricks, holy crap, these shots were spectacular. Ryder and Sentai wish they could do things like that. I think for Sentai, they've shown little snippets of being able to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I,
What I feel like what Sentai and Rider to an extent don't have um is I guess I guess we do have it with Sakamoto coming in, but I feel like there are only a handful of directors that want to be confined to a Toku show, because I assume there are even more constraints put on them, because you have to do this toy thing on top of whatever awesome stuff you do want to do on top of all that stuff, and then Ultraman is a little bit more loosey goosey with their um uh toy promotion and all that stuff. There's some beats you have to hit, but some episodes you could just do whatever you want, and there aren't as many slots like that with Sentai and Rider potentially.
well, yeah, because Ultraman has an obnoxious amount of advertisements within their show, so they can leave the actual episode to episode things.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I say that, but there are tons of what people would consider filler for Sentai. Then again, we did have the one episode where just the Geki Ranger people came back. So, hmm, I don't know. Maybe it balances out. Sentai just has so much stuff that I feel like the more artistic stuff does get drowned out, and
Yeah.
Ultraman,
I feel for
has
this
more
episode though,
focused.
it definitely took it a step further than, because
Yeah,
it just surprised us throughout the episode with how good it was.
yeah, and another one of those shots was the one where they just kept spinning the camera around the city. It was
Yeah.
clearly, I think 4 different assets being used. Like, you have the background spin, like, going this way. You have the foreground spinning that way, or, like, moving that way to have it feel like it's rotating. And then you just film the creature being spun around and, like, flailing. And then you drop in your other guys. They do a shoot. They get out of the frame. You drop it,
Yeah.
But it was impressive. It was cool. And then you had the connective tissue of his head thing spinning around and
Yeah.
slashity.
Yeah, I think like for Ultraman fights, like while there are like, like the Ultraman and the Kaiju fighting together, like the smaller scale characters are also like relevant more often than not in like when compared to Sentai and Rider, when it's like Rider having like those giant like, kaiju-esque fights, it's usually like all CG and it's usually like this big robot versus this big monster, and like those are the only like two factors kind of involved.
Yeah.
So like they wouldn't ever like delve into like this whole like, seeing how like the scale affects these two like, entities in the fight.
Yeah.
And then like Sentai is like also the same thing where like we did have like those outliers, but once they're in the mechs, and it's just kind of like big guy versus big guy,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for this review. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check our description down below. There's a little YouTube playlist where the ad revenue goes to support the BLM movement, so it'd be awesome if you check that out. Also, very important, this comes out hopefully on election day, so please go vote. It's very important.
Yeah.
It's your duty as a citizen to vote. Please do it.
And if anything, you get a free sticker. Do you want a free sticker? Who doesn't like free things?
Okay.
Go vote.
For that, I got my sticker. I put it on my desk like with adhesive on it, and then like after like a week, I was like, oh, it's still there. Took it off, and it's like all messed up on my desk. And I had to rub that out like yesterday.
I'm sure you rubbed it out.
Yep, I definitely did. All right, that's it for our review. Catch you later.
Keep it.
Oh yeah, you know I did.
I mean, isn't it? No, not November. Aren't you supposed to not rub it out?
Oh no, I noted like on the 1st of November just to make sure that I didn't have to adhere to this stupid ass month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in protest.
In protest. It's also No Shave November.
Oh, I was already doing